I really wanted to talk about domestic terrorists. I wanted to put a label, my own self, on governments like the one in Oregon and obviously the one in Nevada. I'm not from Nevada, I'm from Oregon. See, I have a Seahawk cap on because they're the Marine Corps and American flag on my cover. I was raised in the Marine Corps and traveled over the place and was raised in the service and was born in Roseburg, Oregon because all our family was over there, I guess, and that's where my parents wanted me to be born. And as soon as I was basically shot out of that place and didn't go back there for a real long time until my pops retired from the service. So, I'm from Oregon and spent about 20 years after my father retired and his military service ended, and we went somewhere. You know, you have to go somewhere. We went to Oregon. So I'm familiar with Oregon, and I'm very familiar with the woods in Oregon. But I really wanted to talk about them as being domestic terrorists, and because they're authorities, they get away with it, and it's abuse of authority. Um, they could be in a position, maybe sometimes a lot of the authorities, police, and whatever else, they could be in a position where they're very arrogant and they're very determined to make their presence out there. You know what I mean? When it's not always assuming so necessary. It's not always probable, but it's always probable to them because they are police. So if that makes any sense, I'm trying to put this all into better perspective so I can maybe relate a little bit with some people and help deal with it because it's a toleration in America. I'm with other people that um, understand and see and are not oblivious to our society tolerating straight up assholes in America that protest. And I mean, you got people who protest against the police in particular, and then they'll have the police use them for their shield or protection or whatever. And I just think that's arrogant, you know. So, like, if I said something that was like, I'm not really trying to be offensive. I'm just trying to say, you know, I don't really need your help. You know what I mean? And whenever it comes down to it, I really mean those words. So, um, I do not, you know, want to see them, be around them. So I appreciate it whenever I don't. This life, and they're and they're a bit arrogant and very cocky sometimes whenever they really don't have to be. You know what I mean? And if I'm in a pinch, you know, you're putting somebody in a position that seems very awkward, and they might feel like they need to be a little bit defensive, especially on their own ground. But especially while there's a liberal president in there, a Democrat president, it doesn't surprise me knowing them the way I do up to this point, the way that they are, and that they just, on purpose, the Democrats run the presidency, the White House, and if they're in Congress, they do it there too. If they're in the Senate, they're very irresponsible there too. Speaking of Nevada, the senator there, Harry Reid or whatever, I wish that guy would just go away because he he's like a dictator himself. He does use money for projects for his own personal baloney, you know what I mean? And I'm not out here like politicking like that much, you know what I mean? I try to represent my country and my people as much as I can. But in the same note, I'm not going to be weak whenever it comes down to it, and whenever it comes to my own property. I appreciate being able to, if I'm being paid by the government, that's cool, but not take and abuse funds or different things like that that you know are illegal or that you know is crooked to do things to your own property and your own land. You know, I can appreciate very much so me and one other person or something else like that or something, you know, privately being able to conduct my own business on my own property on my own time and leisure, not under the expense necessarily of the government or anything else. And I'm trying to improve my own land, my own self, doing a lot of really great things. And it's all because I'm from Oregon. Look at this. I was gonna show this, but there's a bamboo I just found in the yard. And it had a little bit of bamboo that I got from the neighbor or whatever. And there it is. Put it in a jar. So I decided to keep all the bottom leaves that are brown and the dead parts of it on it for now. I'm not gonna cut it or separate any more of it. I pulled it out of the ground with one of those nasty vine dillies that they have down here. So anyways, let's cut to the chase. Let's get to it. So what I'm talking about is I'm trying to figure out who is Roger Rabbit. Just kidding. I'm trying to figure out who the FBI has been targeting lately. Okay, you're not allowed to. They're not allowed to. You know, what is that? Profile Muslims or whatever. So you had the bombing thing that went off then when they bombed the place up north. Let's look it up. Oh, it says hoax. It said it was a hoax. And it's a false flag, too. Alright, we'll look it up. Boston Marathon bombing. So, if the FBI doesn't deserve, you know, everything that they get, because on this fateful day right here, I don't see these ranchers, the Bundy people, or any of these other people in this incident in Oregon, you know, collaborating like people sent from the Middle East or something like that. You know, they didn't come here to live, for crying out loud. They came here to blow our country up and to kill our countrymen. And while you all divided up into different political parties, you don't even look at all me or anybody else, the real American here, as your own fellow American. Can you believe that? That just takes the fucking wind right out of me, right there. To fucking know that some people, you fucking pukes out there, would never in a million years, I don't give a fuck who you are, would not ever say that shit to my fucking face. I guarantee you. You would not say that fucking shit ever to my face. But as long as it's on the internet and you're that fucking far away from me or whatever, oh yeah, you'll talk your shit. You know what I mean? But anyhow, so who is the FBI looking at and trying to profile? If they're not allowed to profile Muslims, let's look at some images from the Boston bombing. There's the suspects. There's people got blown to bits and whatnot. There were some people were calling it a hoax. We're gonna reserve our language here a bit on the hoaxing, skepticisms, and other things because I do my own criticisms enough. I just wanted to bring up this for a second since we're talking about what happened lately, right? This was not done by a white guy. It was not done by these crazy white guys here. You know that these guys are off their rocker, and they're not allowed to profile people out there like the guy in the first one, the guy in Colorado that shot the people in the theater. And again, if any of them had their own firearm or even light armor on, if they wanted to, they felt like it was necessary, you know. These guys, this last guy went and bought body armor. The guy, from what I understand, told reported the guy coming in there acting suspicious and buying body armor, the gun dealer. So you're still gonna, Hillary Clinton, you're still gonna believe that she's not a complete dope, an idiot, and stooge. If she really believes that you gotta go after the gun dealers and the gun manufacturers, they don't go through such stringent links in order to preserve and protect their business from a business aspect, because they're not holding guns to put them in their hands. They're holding guns to convince potential buyers that come in with the idea that they're going to use it for something particular, like hunting or for in their house, or they want maybe they get the right to, you know, go get a firearm and put it on them person, but still we're arguing about an amendment and a right that's right there. But they're allowed to constitutionally arrest you for having a gun if you're not supposed to have one. I mean, for whatever reason, it's alarming on how many people have been targeted like that. You know, and if they were black, it didn't matter as long as they weren't Muslim or doing something funky, that obviously the Democrat president up there in chief is going to try and tell and sell to everybody that you can't do that, even though this blown up back in their face, and they're going to put the blame on somebody else, that it was somebody else's responsibility. And I just want to know who the FBI was surveying or looking at when this shit right here went down. Not the shit recently, How is it that the FBI cannot tell the president, or won't? I mean, if they had the power and they could just tell the president, no, we're not going to do that. Go after American citizens for stupid particular reasons. They targeted people, from what I know, through the IRS in 2012 during the election time. That's how they tried to stir it up and, you know, to perpetrate the election in one way, was with our own particular agencies doing that against people who voted a certain way. So they obviously were looking at donations and other things like that and going after people that were publicly known for supporting conservative or Republican ideas and candidates. So, I mean, if these guys want to keep on sending, somebody who's always basically been in a suit and tie their whole entire life, go ahead and keep sending those people. But if you want to send some other people, you're gonna have to send more people, like people who feel like the real American, to do your politicking up there. Sometime or another, you're gonna have to wise up to it. You're gonna have to realize that this isn't just some campaign pitch, or some, wily trying to blow up people's butts. But the truth comes out and it keeps becoming more and more clear. So I just want to know if the FBI deserves a bad core label and reputation, because they've been going after and labeling Americans, instead of doing their job correctly, and for whatever reason, if they can tell into the president or whoever's making them do this nonsense that is just Democrat liberal nonsense, then they're obviously a Democrat, and they fired the Republicans that were there in charge or whatever, and they got all Democrats hired, and that's why the FBI has its head up widely up its butt, up its own butt, and won't pull it out of there. So, anyways, I want to look at images here. This is one case right here. I was saying if I was a citizen there, I guess, or whatnot, that I could more or less probably be on the jury panel on one of these things, because I only know a little bit of information. I did not take enough time to study them like too fully. But all I know is there was a standoff both of these times right here with the government, with these people for some reason. It's the same place. This is Nevada, I believe. You remember seeing that on the television. So they had a good standoff, I guess, there in Nevada. But the the FBI and all them that don't look at everybody there as they look at them as a threat or whatever they're taught or told. They're blown. These cops are having smoke blown up their gangs, like hardcore. To think that they need to pump up the intimidation or need to, boost up the situation even more. You know what I mean? I mean, if this is just completely whacked and chaotic, and it's completely liberal, only because it's in those liberal states. So it's like, um, you can't. If I was a governor and anybody screwed with me, I would let the shit die down like that, and I would have all my agents go after anybody who I felt it was that important to get them. I would go after them whenever the shit died down and there was not a standoff, probably. Um, and that was just nonsense with Harry Reid and Obama and politics in 2012. So you've seen the shit die down right here and end right after a political presidential election. And then the Oregon uh, baloney that happened with the BLM or whatever. Um, I'm familiar with the Oregon Bureau of Land Management, and I'm not their enemy. So that's why I'm like, I don't know too like completely what the situation was all about. So I'm just coming from a position of saying, look, you're going after people, regular people, for baloney. That a lot of it, people went to prison and some other stuff. I don't know exactly what they burnt something in the forest, and they're labeled as domestic terrorists themselves now because they have a law or something there. So I'm just saying, like, they have these ranchers up there that have a standoff, and what I understand happened though was they did their time in prison, and then the federal government came up with some idea and some reason to tell them that their time was not up and that they had to go back to prison and do more time on the same charge that they already were released for. And that is unconstitutional. And I'm like, you can't do that to your citizens. And they did. And the government did. And it's wrong because um they already served their time and were released. If they were released on a situation like that, I just believe that they should have and like go on time served. So now, but they're put in their own position to deal with, whatever criminally or whatever else, they did themselves. I ran around in Oregon for a really long time, and towards the end there, I'd say um, probably from a good time from 2004 maybe till 2006 and 7 something. I had been able to spend a lot more time out in the vastness of Oregon, and like my favorite place to go was Burn Mountain. There's a there's a old water pump there. You can pump spring water up. You know, if you go up there and fill, they have it there also for trucks. They can fill their trucks up with. But if you can pump that up, it's fresh. It has no bugs in it because it's up high enough where bugs just don't do not build up in the thing. It always stays fresh, and it's by a fresh spring that you can also go down and dip something in and catch the water and pour it into your canteen or whatever you have, a jug or whatever you could take several jugs up there and pump the water out of this pump and get yourself water, and how much ever you can take it with, and it's all fresh mineral spring water, just like the stuff in Florida. It's exactly like that, but it's an Oregon thing and a complete West Coast. And in the area that you're in, there is the difference. So the tap will be whatever the minerals are there, obviously, for fresh spring water. But that's what you, when you're out in the wild, that's what you are listening for a lot of the time is water trickling. And as soon as you find where the water is, the water is so good that it's completely refreshing and would kill your tiredness or whatever. So I learned that all in Oregon. I learned to be like a farmer and stuff, and a rancher also, believe it or not. Like I have a friend that lives out there on a ranch with his dad, and I hung out with them a lot. It was a horse ranch or whatever. So anyhow, so in Oregon, I wanted to talk about. Then you see this up here, say change in Oregon, they can get it at 12 without their parents' consent. No, I'm sorry, I believe that's 15. But a child, from what I understand now, can have an abortion at age 12 if they have it. If they get knocked up at 12. So someday, real soon, I'm going to do stop sharing. I'm going to do a video on that in particular, and I want to talk about domestic terrorism, domestic terrorists that our government is, but these liberal high hachi, they think the Constitution only pertains to them or something like that, or you to have your own individual freedoms and rights. They maybe believe that it only pertains to their self, not other people, but they amended a law in Oregon there that a child can have an abortion at age 12. So I want to do a video, maybe this already was that, where I tied all those other things in. I want to point out you're going after citizens for this, and you can't let them go. You have to go back and get the person and then string them up more and bring them back and want to deport some more. If it was medieval time, they'd be bringing them back to give them more whiplash, or lashes with the whip or whatever. So I'm just pointing out that they're doing all that, and that's what they think their priority is, and they're using people's own government agencies against their own self, like Ruby Ridge and what Bill Clinton was up to also at the same time there. I mean, pissing people off instead of being like, well, I can let you people like mellow out and chill out a little bit, but no, it's got to be these liberals, and Obama takes the cake, and now Carter can rest assured that he was not the worst president that there ever was, because Bill Clinton and Carter had to get this Obama guy in there just so that they can go, whoa, I'm not the worst president now. Now they can stop talking about me. But that's not true. But this guy Obama is completely worse than all of you guys. And all the guy does is throw something out there. Everything that he does is political, and it's for politics and his ideologies. And he uses people and throws them under the bus. But that's not what I'm trying to get down to. What I'm trying to get down to is that um, uh, Obama daily comes out and tries to screw not only things up, but like everybody's morale and esteem. Somehow he's happy if everybody's all uptight and feel fucking funky feeling, about what's going on in Washington and in the country and their stupidity and what these idiots really think, these politicians. And Paul Ryan should join the Democrat Party. You know what I mean? I mean, daily, President Obama comes out and he's like, tries to put something out there with the media and whatever else, these evil perpetrators against America that hate our country, and a lot of them are from here. They don't get one pass like Obama that he's not actually from America. So he's not really a traitor doing everything that's against America. He's actually one of them. So he's doing the right thing by helping destroy America. There's no conspiracy there. So I'm just saying, every single day, Obama comes out and does something or another to disrupt everybody's opinion, and they make everybody hate each other and think everybody's each other a dipshit. I think you're a dipshit. Man, you're simply just a dipshit, man. That's what everybody feels. One side's a dipshit, the other side feels like they're a dipshit. But you guys have fallen along with this insanity until it finally catches up to you. Like the roller coaster that goes wrong and the people die on the roller coaster or whatever. That is how I am comparing, or that's how I put it. This Obama administration is a roller coaster, and it's like maybe a bunch of roller coasters everywhere. And what we're seeing is all these people that voted for him and got on his roller coasters are all boom. The roller coasters are falling apart, going really fast and killing everybody. It's because of what Obama does daily. You think Hillary Clinton's going to be any different? And you really don't want to see what Trump will do in 4 years? We got 4 years to see if asinine, what I think is asinine, like Paul Ryan right now, to see if he's wrong, right? And prove me right again, right? Because I'm the guy that's always on the hunch and always knows these people because of what my position and what I have or whatever. I can look at a person usually and tell you that person's evil. There is times when I'll look at a person and I'll mistake a good person for somebody who I don't know. I just don't know if they're evil or good or not, and I can't tell. So I'm not saying that it is, but I always knew that Obama was bad news. I didn't know exactly what kind of bad news or what he was going to do, but I knew against it. I knew against it, and other people did not. They wanted to see the ride, go with the ride, right, with Obama to see where the ride would end, and there it went. You know what I mean? And I'll admit, even though I have a hard time, like feeling emotion towards that when there's a war going on here and you guys voted for this dipshit and he treats it like it's a civil dispute or some shit like that. You know what I mean? It's not even it's some kind of fucking riot or something to these guys, you know, Bill Clinton and these guys. It is a war that we have with terrorists and enemy. So, um, anyhow, it's proven to be completely entirely too tragic and fateful. So, I will admit, even though I'm having a hard time relating with any of the recent shooting and saying, um, like, sympathize with people whenever basically it seems to me quite obvious that they were people that were asking for trouble. They let Obama put the target on them. And then they even went even more selfish than that and even more beyond and invited straight people that are cool with gay people to come along and hang out there and be a target and then not allow America to do anything about it. But these guys have to be a sacrifice, and it's not lunacy, and it is not what's the occult, the Satan one, the satanic cult deal. It's not Luciferian in nature. You don't think this is a bad Luciferian in nature type of thing that the American society did to itself by electing particular people like that? That can change other people and bring them to the dark side, like Arlen Specter and now Paul Ryan. I liked Paul Ryan before, but obviously, just like the movie in Star Wars, they decepted his mind and they drew him over to the dark side. So I understand that there's a lot of people that were like hippie-ish, yuppie-ish, that were really soft, like the guy on Beavis and Butthead, their teacher, right? So he might have had a lot of bad perspectives and things that he was told that he said to people, but I don't really particularly want to go after it for because it would seem like it pointless, no particular reason to go after people who are really nice people. If you're a really nice person, you got a good heart, you know, don't let me drag you down. Don't let me put you in any position and just say, you know, hey, man, you know, sometimes you need to let some stuff go or whatever, but that's how I feel about people who they might be kind of stupid, in my opinion, but they're not necessarily evil, is what I'm trying to say. So I kind of give them a little bit of a pass, but I still have my rights until you guys elect more Democrats everywhere else, like Bernie Sanders said recently that he wants Democrats and fill all these different positions now. I got to do all this stuff, you know, to take people's particular rights, freedom of speech, and our firearm rights. You know, there's enough laws out there that should keep people pretty much, you know, uh, not too, you know, going out there and exposing the gun and getting in any trouble with it. Already that how it is. And I would encourage that. I believe that there is a lot more people in school and other people as soon as they catch wind of people's videos like mine and they get to hear my perspective and other people's perspective like that a little bit who are staunchly pro. See that? Here's my another button right here. You see that? I wear it on the back of my cap, of my Seahawk cap, and it says, you know, don't tread on me, but it says the right to keep and bear arms. The right to keep and bear arms. And it's got an assault rifle on there. And I don't have one. I believe that if I needed one, the authorities or people or whatever would pull up and they would be the ones that would be arming me or whatever, not me necessarily arming myself. I think that I could take on bad people who are trying to kill me, even with all of that. honestly, well enough without all of that as it is. So I don't think things need to change too much in particular, except for the fact that the quirkiness needs to stop. And now, since all of the smart people with a conscience have been fired everywhere, and the top deputy, um, marshal of the land or whatever cop, the DOJ, is going to be nonsense. It's going to be shameful to law enforcement in particular, also. So, like Eric Holder, what a racist piece of garbage. You know what I mean? So they're like, because he's black, he's got all of our government agencies all tied up looking at white people. So I'm just saying, like, until we elect Trump, and get him in there and give him 4 years to at least see what he's gonna do, if he's gonna stop all this nonsense, right? And stop targeting white people and start targeting terrorists if they're white or whatever they are, group, ethnicity, or religion or whatever, not to be restrained because they've got some kind of political correct agenda to go out here and get themselves killed with other people. So it's quietly communist. So you keep pushing this stuff that's so tragic down your throat and telling you, I mean, he'll show up, he'll fly with Air Force One and abuse it even more and waste even more of our tax dollars to go down there and talk to those people. Oh, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that I did this. I mean, did I say that? I didn't say I did this. I mean, I'm Obama. I helped you. I helped you guys get your rights and to aspire to be brain physicists. I mean, it's complete lunacy. Logic is non-logical. I mean, it's logic that you will never be able to unlock that shit. There's just no way. If you can get people back to common fucking sense, gee whiz, that's what we need. More common sense, and now we're gonna have to fire all of the people with no brains, no common sense, and put all the people with common sense and brains in all the jobs in places else and everywhere else. Plus, also, if we can, we shall encourage people to vote the right way and to quit voting for lunacy and kick Paul Ryan out. Kick Paul Ryan out, for crying out loud. And quit accepting donations from people that are not going to pledge in any way or even say they support the Republican nominee right now. I think that you should tell them, go stick it and go give your money to Hillary. Koch. The Koch brothers. If the Koch brothers really feel like the way that they do, they need to get off the plane and they need to go get on the liberal Democrat Obama roller coaster. They need to go turn their affiliate in and say they're no longer a Republican, and they need to go away and shut up or go to the left and go far out of away to the Democrats, please. If you really feel that way, I would appreciate it. It took a billionaire to go and do it. I didn't see in either one of the Koch brothers go and run for president and go out there and every day basically go out there and say something else. Go on Twitter, do this and that, and become popular like Donald Trump. So what do people have that much against Donald Trump anyways? Because of his words? Are you serious? Look, a real go-getter with me and something that got my attention was the fact that he said something about the borders that is not racist to me, about having a fence up there, because every country that's well established in the world has one. And Democrats only believe in a global structure. Like people, citizens are allowed to come and go and please as they please or whatever. But that's not safe in the time that we live in. The time that we live in says that people need to be checked out by customs, custody, the authorities, and they need to be screened and made sure that there's nothing wrong with them before they get to the place where they're at. If they get to the place and they're going to come to America and they're going to dive right in here and take up materials or things that is going to blow people up or do something bad or harmful like the guy did here. He was born in America, though. I'm just saying how the last guy did it too. They've got a lot of their firearms here, different gun dealers, or they've had the rifles for a while. So maybe some rifles maybe sit in those people's minds like that. So people should be encouraged to put the gun up with all the other guns in a safe place where it can't be robbed or ripped off, where they maybe don't look at it. If it's just going to thrill them over the top and over the edge where they go out and do and commit mass chaotic murder with it. So it's really tragic. So I'll give you that much, that the scenario was very tragic there. But I'm sorry, I'm just having a hard time feeling sympathy because honestly, too, if I died, would you really give two shits about me dying? I'm a guy who's like, man, these are my own citizens, my own countrymen, American countrymen out here don't prefer me to something radical and to the left, and they're taught and believe all this other radical shit, but yet they don't look at me as their own countrymen. So you're going to allow powers that be to manipulate the thing where when I say civil war, it's obviously out of my hands. There's not anything I can do about it, or I can talk about it and say, well, that really sounds civil war-ish to me. Sounds like you want to go to civil war or something. So, anyhow, I'm looking at my lock. Nice. My little lock. It's here that I grow for it's let me think. Who is it? It's not the Wigs for Kids one. It's not that one. I don't donate to them. I donate to this other place that doesn't rob the hair. It doesn't use 75%. Locks of Love. Locks of Love does that. Sorry. So I send it to Wigs for Kids. I'm sorry. I said that wrong. I send my hair to Wigs for Kids, and supposedly they do not rip the people off who donate the hair to them. I'm sitting here growing this hair for 2 freaking years until it's 12 inches long, or the length I think it's right to send it off to donate to children that cannot grow their hair on their head. So I do that. At least I do that much anymore. But I just want it to go to the right person. I don't want it to be used in a bad way or people to rip you off. If it's a nonprofit organization like that, it really needs to have more sponsors than that. People making donations, money donations, not hair donations. If I'm going to spend that much time and to grow my hair and harvest it for some child, and then it winds up being sold to somebody else who knows, or they, even worse, maybe they're going to come a point in time where they're allowed to get away with taking the hair from as a donation and then sell it to the little kid that I'm trying to just give it to, so they have hair. they could put this hair with 5 other locks, from what I understand. I'll do a whole lock like that. I'm trying to split it up or nothing, but um, I've done this is the third one that I've done. Will be this one. I'm gonna do 2 more, and then I'm out with that. But anyhow, so I'm just saying all this stuff because I do not want things manipulated. I don't want people manipulated. Um, I don't want people to be put in a position where they think they need to steal from somebody else or commit a crime or break a law or anything like that. I want everything to be peaceful and cool, and everything to be mellow. You don't have to worry about stuff at all. But there'll be time enough where I'll mature to all of this, and just like wine, I believe that I will, like wine, gets better, not worse. If you put it in the right conditions, the wine gets worse, right? In the wrong conditions, but in the right conditions, it's taken care of. It becomes better, right? So I believe that maturity will be able to put me and save me from almost maybe going to a point where I would wilter away and die, or would just and that's what I mean, fade away, you know, not really go anywhere or do anything, and just pass away because you get sick or whatever the case is. But I believe I'll go over the hump, and I will not go bad or spoil because of being put in the wrong conditions. I believe that I'm positive and look up towards being put in the right position, in environment, to be able to aspire to maybe even where I can someday be popped. To pop me, to pop my cork. Thanks.